Pope Francis on Artificial Intelligence at the G7 Forum. Following. The basic mechanism of artificial intelligence. I would like now briefly to address the complexity of artificial intelligence. Essentially, artificial intelligence is a tool designed for problem solving. It works by means of a logical chaining of algebraic operations carried out on categories of data. These are then compared in order to discover correlations, thereby improving their statistical value. This takes place thanks to a process of self-learning based on the search for further data and the self-modification of its calculation processes. Artificial intelligence is designed in this way in order to solve specific problems. Yet, for those who use it, there is often an irresistible temptation to draw general or even anthropological deductions from the specific solutions it offers. An important example of this is the use of programs designed to help judges in deciding whether to grant home confinement to inmates serving a prison sentence. In this case, artificial intelligence is asked to predict the likelihood of a prisoner committing the same crimes again. It does so based on predetermined categories, type of offence, behaviour in prison, psychological assessment, and others. Thus, following artificial intelligence to have access to categories of data relating to the prisoner's private life, ethnic origin, educational attainment, credit rating, and others. The use of such a methodology which sometimes risks de facto delegating to a machine the last word concerning a person's future, may implicitly incorporate prejudices inherent in the categories of data used by artificial intelligence. Being classified as part of a certain ethnic group, or simply having committed a minor offence years earlier, for example, not having paid a parking fine, will actually influence the decision as to whether or not to grant home confinement. In reality, however, human beings are always developing and are capable of surprising us by their actions. This is something that a machine cannot take into account. It should also be noted that the use of applications similar to the one I have just mentioned will be used ever more frequently due to the fact that artificial intelligence programs will be increasingly equipped with the capacity to interact directly, chatbots, with human beings, holding conversations and establishing close relationships with them. These interactions may end up being, more often than not, pleasant and reassuring. Since these artificial intelligence programs will be designed to learn to respond in a personalised way to the physical and psychological needs of human beings. It is a frequent and serious mistake to forget that artificial intelligence is not another human being, and that it can propose general principles. This error stems either from the profound need of human beings to find a stable form of companionship or from a subconscious assumption, namely the assumption that observations obtained by means of a calculating mechanism are endowed with the qualities of unquestionable certainty and unquestionable universality. This assumption, however, is far-fetched, as can be seen by an examination of the inherent limitations of computation itself. Artificial intelligence uses algebraic operations that are carried out in a logical sequence. For example, if the value of x is greater than that of y, multiply x by y, otherwise divide x by y. This method of calculation, the so-called algorithm, is neither objective nor neutral. Moreover, since it is based on algebra, it can only examine realities formalized in numerical terms. Nor should it be forgotten that algorithms designed to solve highly complex problems are so sophisticated that it is difficult for programmers themselves to understand exactly how they arrive at their results. This tendency toward sophistication is likely to accelerate considerably with the introduction of quantum computers that will operate not with binary circuits, semiconductors, or microchips, but according to the highly complex laws of quantum physics. Indeed, the continuous introduction of increasingly high-performance microchips has already become one of the reasons for the dominant use of artificial intelligence by those few nations equipped in this regard. Whether sophisticated or not, the quality of the answer that artificial intelligence programs provide ultimately depends on the data they use and how they are structured. Finally, I would like to indicate one last area in which the complexity of the mechanism of so-called generative artificial intelligence clearly emerges. Today, no one doubts that there are magnificent tools available for accessing knowledge, which even allow for self-learning and self-tutoring in a myriad of fields. Many of us have been impressed by the easily available online applications for composing a text or producing an image on any theme or subject. Students are especially attracted to this, but make disproportionate use of it when they have to prepare papers. Students are often much better prepared for and more familiar with using artificial intelligence than their teachers. Yet, they forget that, strictly speaking, so-called generative artificial intelligence is not really generative. Instead, it searches big data for information and puts it together in the style required of it. It does not develop new analyses or concepts, but repeats those that it finds, giving them an appealing form. Then, the more it finds a repeated notion or hypothesis, the more it considers it legitimate and valid. Rather than being generative, then it is instead reinforcing, in the sense that it rearranges existing content, helping to consolidate it, often without checking whether it contains errors or preconceptions. In this way, it not only runs the risk of legitimizing fake news and strengthening a dominant culture's advantage, but in short, it also undermines the educational process itself. Education should provide students with the possibility of authentic reflection. Yet, it runs the risk of being reduced to a repetition of notions which will increasingly be evaluated as unobjectionable simply because of their constant repetition.